Tio, thank you ever so much for joining us today on this episode of the podcast. Our series, this one is, Are You the Perfect Parent? So Tio, I'm going to kick straight off. First question, not even going to let you settle in, get comfortable. Are you the perfect parent?
Well, good morning, and no.
Yeah. I thought you were going to say, yeah, of course I am.
No. I mean, is anyone really?
I haven't met them.
No, neither have I, because you can't be, because everything is continuously changing. So even if you think that you've nailed it at one point in your journey, which sometimes you do, you're thinking, yes, I've got this down to a T, it's amazing.
Yeah.
But something changes. Hormones kick in for you or the kids, whichever.
Well, yeah.
Circumstances change. Likes, dislikes, triggers, glimmers, anything you can think of changes. Sometimes multiple times in a day, let alone in a longer period of time.
Yeah.
So you can't maintain perfection. Even if you achieve it at one point, you can't maintain it because it's unfeasible. So no, most definitely not. Just don't ask my kids, all right?
Yeah.
They'll be a bit more honest.
Is mum perfect?
Yeah. Whew, no.
I've got another podcast idea, Tio.
Please don't. What with the kids?
On.
Jesus. If you want truth, like proper cutthroat truth.
Right, I'm going to put a question to you then. If we asked your kids, is mum the perfect parent? What would she say out of your three? What would they say? No. All of them would say no.
Well, yeah, of course. Because
I've trained mine better.
That's what I'm going wrong.
Yeah.
I cracked the whip. But no, you can be. I mean, if you ask my eldest, he will mention the food and he'll be like, as long as I cook for him, everything is perfect, everything is fine. So I've got that nailed. The middle one doesn't speak, so he'll probably look at you, frown, and be like, what? You want me to say what? And the youngest one, because he's 4, everything is no at the moment. So even if you ask him, like clearly you can see he's starving and you ask, would you like something to eat? No. You're a bit cold. Do you want to do it? No. So everything is no. But no, I'm not. I mean, no. Some days I shout more than I care to admit. Some days I lose my marbles more than I care to admit. Some days I feel like I just want to go and, shove my head in the microwave and turn it on. Other days I just want to get in the car, drive and never come back. You can be. It's challenging because it's one of me. I mean, obviously I'm in a 2-parent household, so I have my husband.
Yeah.
But it's one of me and 3 of them. So even when I can kind of manage my own stuff and my own emotions and hormones and whatever else, when 3 of them come at you at the same time.
Outnumbered? Yeah.
Just a bit. But it's 3 different sets of needs. I mean, they're all neurodivergent. So every single one of them, 3 different communication styles, right? 3 different sets of needs and 3 different sets of demands.
Yeah.
So sometimes I have to sit back and think, right, which one is on fire? And which one do I need to deal with first? Which one is at the most critical point, if you may? And the other ones can kind of wait in the background or, throw a biscuit at them or something. Like, right, just wait a minute, hold on. But no. And I don't think I'll ever be. And you know what? That's fine. That's okay. I don't go.
You feel really okay with that? And has that kind of, have you come to that feeling? Has that something that's emerged for you? Or is that something you've always felt as a parent, like from the get-go? When the kids were born, I am who I am and I can only do my best. Have you always had that confidence?
Not really, no. Okay. I mean, the eldest, he was an only child for the first 2.5 years of his life. And even though he's the eldest, he is the last one to be diagnosed. So in his early years, there was no indication of neurodivergence whatsoever. I mean, all the milestones hit. If you look at a chart, if you may, everything was exactly how it was supposed to be at the time that it was supposed to be. There was no anything, right? So because of that, the initial start of parenting was quite, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing because clearly it's working because there he is.
Okay.
You see what I mean?
Feedback from him because things were going okay. Gave you the confidence that everything was okay. Good. Yeah.
Exactly. But also you have to, I mean, it's hard to explain, isn't it? Because when hindsight is a beautiful thing. So when you look back, And you think, oh my gosh, all the textbooks, all the parenting books that you go to classes, you go to this, you go to that, you listen to your grandmother, to what she used to do 50 years ago and what have you. And you feel like you have to comply because there's this box of what a parent should look like. You have to do this. You have to do it like that. If he's crying, let him cry it out. If he doesn't eat what he's given, don't give him anything else.
Yeah.
All of these things, which actually, knowing what I know now, it's a bit like, whoa, okay, how did we even get to this conclusion in the first place? Like, it's crazy. But I was never one to conform in any aspect of my life. If it doesn't feel right, I don't do it.
Never have known that about you, Tia.
No, but if it doesn't feel right, I don't care how many people tell me that it's right. If in there something is going, no, do you know what? No, that's what I go by.
Yeah.
But as parents, you do make mistakes, because sometimes you think, oh, well, if 25 people had said so, maybe, let's give it a go. But then the second one came along. That was it. That box? Yeah, the box disintegrated. It didn't even exist anymore. It was gone, because with him, we knew literally from the moment he did his first cry that, he's not typical. We just knew from the get-go. So, yeah. And since then, that box was set on fire and I never looked at it again, to be honest. And I think he helped me more than he'll ever know to realize that it doesn't matter what box you're given. It doesn't matter how many people tell you that is what you need. If you don't, you don't. And, you make your own box, or you don't have one altogether, and it's fine. He's alive, he's thriving, I haven't killed him. He's fed, he's watered, he's fine. So, I think we did okay.
Yeah. And I suppose that leads me on to kind of thinking about you. You are the founder of SendWise Hub.
Oh my!
And I suppose I'm really curious as to how that came about. Why did you? I have some suspicions as to why. But people that are listening, what inspired you to set it up? What was your hopes for it and your dreams for it?
I mean, the neurodivergent community is something like I've never experienced before.
Yeah.
It's a powerhouse. It really is a powerhouse, and it's tight-knit, and it's kind, and it's compassionate, and it's empathetic, and it's everything that you need to have from a village, from a tribe, from a, whatever people call it these days. And I guess I just don't like the idea that people feel alone.
Yeah.
Because parenting, regardless of who you parent, what you parent, sometimes it gets bloody lonely. It really does get lonely. So, or, sometimes you feel afraid to say certain things because, you'll be judged. Or sometimes you don't want to talk about it face to face with someone because, again, it has all the additional implications, as opposed to being behind a keyboard where, you can only divulge as much as you want. So I guess I put it on there because I wanted that sense of community. I wanted that sense of connection, but I also want to help people unlearn a lot of stuff. Because even though these days parents and people in general feel more empowered because we have more access to information, we have more access to knowledge, there's still gaps, which is fine. We've all been there. We've all had to do our due diligence, and we all had to learn, and that's absolutely fine. But if I can put my 2 pence in and someone reads it and goes, oh, haven't thought about it that way, then, job done. That's fine. And it's just, that sense of community, somewhere for people to go and read or chat or take part if they want to, and it's an outlet for me as well, because it helps me put, pen to paper, proverbially, of course, to people that I know understand. Because it's not certain things you can't just talk to anyone about, because even though they empathize, they don't understand it. I don't need empathy. I need someone to understand. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah. So it's other parents that get it, I suppose, isn't it? That have been in the situation, and you're brilliant at writing. You have a very, great style of writing. I've told you previous times before, I'm very jealous of your writing, but you also put some really lovely questions in your writing. So I almost feel like it's you thinking, when you write. I can see your thought process, and you're not telling anyone what to think.
No.
You're just questioning, and it's gentle questioning, going, have you thought about maybe this? have you thought about that? Try, and it's a really lovely way of writing that I think is really accessible to a lot of people, even the
Yeah.
dyslexics like me. Can follow your posts and get something from them, and they're really insightful. I find, I like reading them, so I can imagine that they're very accessible to the community, and for people possibly that aren't in the neurodivergent community, that just want to
Yeah,
learn more. It might be
of course.
teachers, it might be whoever you are, but just wanting to know a bit more from a real lived experience.
Yeah, I mean, it's not aimed at anyone, right? Unless you're a parent or a carer, you don't you don't belong here. Of course
Yeah,
not. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter what your background is. It doesn't
yeah,
matter whether you're neurodivergent or typical. It
yeah,
doesn't matter age, sex, gender. I don't care. That's not what it's about. It is you're human. That's good enough for me.
yeah.
That's
Okay.
fine. And I'm not in the business to tell anyone what to do.
Yeah.
I don't have the right. I don't have the knowledge to tell anyone, I'm not the omnipotent and omnipresent creature that'll be like, right, you have to do this because this is the right way of doing it. Absolutely not. But if I can plant that seed in your head just to get the questions going,
Mm.
then that's enough. And then whatever conclusion you come to on the back of that, fine. Again, that is applicable to you and to your circumstance and to your family dynamic and to your own wants and desires, because that's what it comes to, isn't it? You need to meet your needs as well as a
Mm.
reader or as a parent or teacher or whatever before you can actually be there for someone else.
Yeah.
So I think that's what it's about. And it's nice to chat to people, because I guess sometimes also the reason why I put the questions in is because I'm second guessing myself. Because like you said,
Okay.
it's the thought process and you're
Yeah,
thinking, right, I'm
yeah,
going to put this down. But then you read it back a couple of days later and you're thinking, oh, I'm not sure it makes much sense now anymore. Or,
yeah. Hmm.
did I get it right? Or did I say completely the wrong thing? And I mean, ultimately, it is my outlet. So, I'm happy to be educated. And I'm happy for people to pull me aside, be like, wow, you can't say that. Or actually, what you said here,
Mm.
that's not how this works. And
Mm.
I've had, in particular, neurodivergent, well, in specifically autistic people, comment on certain things and say, yes, but,
Yeah,
or
yeah,
this is the starting point. How about you look into this?
yeah,
So it helps me as well, because their lived experience, again, it's unmatchable. Yes, you can read the books, and yes, you can do the courses, and yes, you can do all of this, but actually talking to the people that feel and think these things, that's what it's about. And I think that's what I wanted to achieve. It's just that's why it's called Hub. It's not, I don't know, it's a place, it's a safe
yeah.
space.
Is it something you wish you'd had? Like when you go
God,
back and think when you're, yeah,
yeah, definitely. I mean, I have to say I have been quite lucky in the sense that the people that I was involved with from the get-go,
yeah,
with certain exceptions, were mostly neuroaffirming. In, not necessarily in the term of how we use it today,
hmm,
but in behavior and in the way they interacted with my children, and in, what they wanted my children to achieve.
yeah,
Um, Saying that, looking back at my oh my lord, on my middle son's first EHCP, because he got his right before he started primary, so at the age of 4 he was done and dusted.
okay.
And looking back on it now, I'm thinking, oh my god, how did I let them write this thing in there, and how did I ever sign off on this?
It's
Because
what you know, isn't it? You don't know what you don't know.
exactly, but that's what I mean. So I had a few people where they tried to push the whole, behavioral side of things, and tried
Yeah,
to push the whole, well, we really need to push him with this because it can change.
mm,
No, leave him alone. Just want to go with a fly swatter. Be like, no, get back.
yeah,
But that's what I knew then. And sometimes I feel sad about it. Sometimes I feel bad about it, because I'm thinking, as a parent, you sit back and think, "Oh, I should have known better. I should have
yeah,
realized that this is wrong. I should have done this." But I can't change it. If I could turn back time and do it all over again, now I know what I would do different, of course.
mm,
But then again, I wouldn't be where I am if I would do things differently. Do you
yeah.
see?
And that starts to mess with my brain when we start talking like that. I feel like the same as you. That
Yeah.
I look back now, even in my work.
Uh-huh.
And I think about the work that I was doing, and I look back, and I was working with, parents and carers of neurodivergent kids, and I was not a parent myself. I hadn't gone down that route. I didn't know I was dyslexic. I suspected I was, but I didn't know for certain. And I wasn't in that world, I suppose. And when I look back now, I just think, some of the stuff. But as you say, if I hadn't have done that, it wouldn't have taken me on the path that it took me and where I ended up. So you had to have was that the route I had to take anyway? I don't know.
Well, that's the way I think about it. I mean, all our past experiences make us where we are today.
Yeah.
And as long as today I can look in the mirror and say, yeah, it's all right. You're not perfect, but if you go by comparison,
Yeah.
you're doing okay. And
I did
that's
my
fine.
best.
Yeah, and
That's
that's
all I want to
fine.
feel is I did my best that I could. And I talk about that in my posts and stuff on social media. Do the best that you can with what you know at the time. And
Exactly right.
that's all you can do. And if you can do better, when we know more, then we do better.
But I think it's also giving yourself grace.
Yeah.
Because if you keep beating yourself up, oh, I should have known, I should have done this, yeah, that's great. You should have. Fine. Okay. And what? It's irrelevant. It's that kind of mindset that completely pummels you into the ground.
Yeah.
Because you can't change the timeline. You can't go back in time.
Mm.
And you can't, change history. You can. Yes, we would want to, but you can't do it. So to continuously pummel yourself into the ground by saying that to yourself, or even to your children, your partner, your workmates, or whatever, it's pointless. It's such a waste of time.
Yeah.
And I think we need to give ourselves grace, because people make mistakes. I mean, this is a massive thing. Everybody makes mistakes.
Yeah.
And as long as you can own up and be like, yeah, I screwed up, I'm sorry. That
seems to be really hard for parents, isn't it? That there's a construct somewhere, and I'm really interested where it comes from, that as parents we can't or shouldn't make mistakes, that we should be this perfect parent that knows how to manage every situation, that we, this happy, relaxed, calm,
all right.
individual.
I call it the Mary Poppins parent.
Exactly that. Exactly, Mary Poppins.
Not in this house, I tell you.
I know. And you know what? I've never met a real Mary Poppins. I've met some on the outside, and I think social media again, and maybe that's part of it. There's a lot of, perfect family pictures of us on holiday. Not us, but people can. We're not allowed to take photographs very much. But there's this social media, I suppose, thing in your face that for everything to be okay, it has to be these perfect holidays, perfect Christmases, perfect birthday, perfect everything. And the pressure on parents to try and do that and is huge. And then
it's exhausting, Liz.
It's completely exhausting. Yeah.
I mean, keeping up appearances, it's exhausting, because you also set yourself up for failure. Yeah. I mean, if that is the standard that you want to achieve, fine, good for you.
Yeah.
Brilliant. And I hope you achieve it. Truly, I do.
Yeah.
But can you imagine how exhausting that is, that you can't allow yourself to slip up? It blows my mind. And, talking about social media, yes, we see all these pictures of the, of perfection, but that is literally 1 microsecond out of a 24-hour day.
Yeah. What you haven't seen is the arguments and the screaming before they got into the photograph, or what screaming the photograph has caused.
Exactly. Or afterwards, right, get out of my face, I don't want to see you for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
We don't see all of that. So I think that for us to try to build our own lives on what we see rather than what we know, it doesn't work. And that applies to everything, a professional life, personal life, parenting, friendships, whatever. It applies to literally every single aspect of your life.
Yeah.
But it's hard. It's hard because, especially in today's day and age, with access to so much, you have to filter through a lot of rubbish before you get to the good stuff. And there is a lot of rubbish out there.
Yeah, there is. And a lot of noise in your face about what you should be doing.
Yeah. But I've never liked that. I remember me and my dad having monumental arguments. I mean, me and my dad used to clash all the time, probably because we're quite similar, even though I detest admitting it. We used to clash all the time when I was a teenager. I mean, literally all the time. I can't explain to you, right?
Yeah.
And one of his favorite things to always say, I mean, this is a man that is old school, right? I mean, he's 70, whatever he is, 74, 74? I think so, 74.
Mm.
But he's proper old school in belief, patriarchy, hierarchy, all of that rubbish that goes with it, right?
Yeah.
And he always used to say, like, if you would come to me, like, why don't you do it this way? Like, literally anything from tying my shoes. You know what I mean? So something really, really pathetic. He will come along and be like, oh, well, why don't you do it this way? I'm like, why? It works. I've done it this way and it's fine. Yeah, but that's not normal. You should be doing it like this. I'm like, whoa, okay. What do you mean? If I got to the same end result, does
Yeah.
it really matter how I got there? It doesn't really. Well, no, but that's not how it's done. And you know what? Looking back on it now as a fully fledged adult, I'm thinking, Jesus, is that how these people used to live? Is that what has been passed down from generation to generation? This constant, this is how we've always done it. This is
Mm.
how it is the only way. No wonder there's so many people that go undiagnosed, so much untreated trauma, so
Yeah.
much PTSD, so many broken relationships. Adults now that no longer talk to their parents because they're thinking, this is what I had to put up with for the first, 18, 20 years of my life, whichever. I mean, I know it doesn't come from a place of malice. Again, they did what they thought was best with the tools that they had, which is
Yeah.
fine. I know it doesn't come from a place of malice. And as long as they get to the stage where they kind of recognize that fact and, admit that maybe it wasn't the greatest thing to say to you at the time,
Yeah.
then that's fine. But, how you mentioned that people find it hard to let go of this. I think this stems from generations from ions ago. I think that's how it all started, because the same thing has been passed down over and over. And that's how it became the normal. Because people didn't experiment, if you may, they didn't try to do anything different because that's the way it was. And we've talked about this before. The worst thing you can ever say is we've always done it this way.
Yeah.
I mean, that says it blocks progress in whichever avenue you look at.
There is something in parenting about that, isn't it? I suppose. I mean, nowadays we've got the internet, so our availability to knowledge and learning is ginormous.
Yeah.
Let's say go back, I remember when the internet came in, I remember
Dial-up.
before the internet.
Oh my
kids
God,
was
yep.
like, what? Before the internet? What was that?
I know, what did you used to do with your time?
But when I think about it, I remember if you wanted to know something, my dad used to have these encyclopedia sets
Same.
that we used to have to go and look it up in the encyclopedia. And for a dyslexic, that was a nightmare. Anyway, so the only way I suppose that you learn was through experience, and that was from what your parents did. And you either came out from being under your parents' household thinking, I want to be like that, but you came out thinking, I don't want to be like that.
Exactly.
And that's kind of how you learn. Or you might have, experienced, I suppose, parenting going around your friends' houses and coming across other people's parents. But it was through experience rather than learning and knowledge that we have access to now. And maybe that's making a generation of people go, oh, but we could do it differently. You've got so much more access to people. Before our world was quite small, I suppose, and now it's
exactly right.
huge.
But that's where also danger comes in. I mean, don't get me wrong, I wouldn't go back to I don't want to go back to the olden days, because I remember the days pre-internet as well. Thank you.
Yeah.
I told my son about dial-up, how if the landline rang, the whole thing shut down. He was like, I beg your pardon. I said, oh my God, the screaming matches. Don't answer the phone. I'm doing it. And all I could hear is my mother, hello. And I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. So I wouldn't want to go back to those days either. I like the technology. But you are absolutely right. I think because we didn't have everything at our fingertips, we did experience life more, and we learned by doing far more. People nowadays, I think they learn more by reading and researching rather than by doing. There's not so much as trial and error anymore.
Yeah.
If you made that how it used to be. And again, which is fine. I mean, each side of the coin has pros and cons, and it's fine. But parenting is emotional. Giving birth is the easiest part.
Yeah, that's saying something.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Would I want to do that again as well? Absolutely not. Thank you very much.
No,
but
thank you.
No,
I'm with
no
you on that
chance.
one.
No, never again in my life will I ever do that
I'm
again.
with you on that one.
But
just thinking about parenting, have you got a moment in your kind of call it a parenting career. I don't know.
Oh, first a founder, now a career. Oh my
But journey sounds horrible. Career sounds work-like. In your
journey.
parenting
I don't know.
path, I don't know.
Experience.
Experience, yeah. In your parenting experience, that sounds a bit better. Have you got a moment that stands out as kind of? There's two bit parts to that question. One that's kind of like the worst moment in your parenting experience where you thought, this is the rock bottom for me. Because we all hit that as parents. And I think we need to be really honest about that as parents, we will hit a rock bottom at some point. And has there been a moment where you've had a real wonderful moment that you go back to in your memories and your thoughts thinking, that was one of the best moments of my parenting experience?
Oh gosh, that's a tough one, isn't
That's
it?
a huge question. Come on.
It is.
Yeah, you can come up with something.
I'll just make something up. You'll never know.
Yeah.
It's hard. I mean, with low points, there have been more than one. I mean, let's face it, I've been parenting for almost 13 years. Of course, there's been more than one, which is fine. Rock bottom, honestly, I don't think there has been rock bottom yet as such.
Right.
We've had lots of dips, lots of crying on my part, particularly with a, pot of ice cream and a bottle of wine, thinking, oh my God, what did I just say? Or what did I just do?
Yeah.
But I wouldn't say rock bottom to the point of thinking, I'm not fit to be a parent, or these children don't deserve me, or, anything of that magnitude.
Mm-hmm.
One of the worst things that I remember is taking advice, speaking of people, my middle son, he was struggling when he was about 5 years old. No, before he was 5, before he started school, he was really struggling. I mean, this is an autistic, non-speaking child.
Yeah.
Okay. And he was struggling with life. He was struggling with the world. He was struggling with a parent that I didn't know anything about autism before he came along. So I was learning with him.
Yeah.
Because as far as I know, there's no one autistic in the family. Well, knowing what I know now, I'm diagnosed literally down to the great-great-grandparent, right? But I didn't know anything about neurodivergent life. I had no idea what it means. I had no idea how they experience life. I had no idea. Sensory processing, what? What is that? No clue. So he was struggling a lot. And as you do, you go through the motions, don't you? You go through the health visitor, you go through the GP, you say, right, I need help because he's doing this, 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 and I don't know how to help. The meltdowns were absolutely off the charts. I mean, they were monumental. And I got Portage in.
Yeah.
And I said, right, I need help because this is going wrong here. I don't know if I'm doing wrong. Is he wrong? Something's wrong. Fix it. And the advice that they gave me, especially with him continuously getting out of bed during the night, and coming to look for me, or, not staying in his room, or continuously banging, clanging, throwing, all the things that go with it, were to say that to completely ignore him, just put him back to bed and close the door. And much to my disgust, and I will be honest, I've done it for a few days. And you know that feeling in your chest?
Yeah.
You get where literally it felt like my whole core just got ripped in half. And the fourth night or whatever it was, I thought to myself, I said, what the F am I doing? This goes against every maternal instinct. It goes against my gut. This goes against everything that I don't even know yet. I said, what am I doing? And I felt absolutely disgusted with myself. So needless to say, that stopped. I have never, ever. I mean, he can come out of his room 45 times a night. That's fine. It is what it is. Needless to say, ever since I stopped doing that and giving him the connection and the comfort and the reassurance, it stopped. Funny that.
Yeah.
But I called Portage the next day and I said, you're never setting foot in this house again. He goes, oh, why? So obviously I went through the whole rigmarole. I said, I never want to see you again.
Yeah.
I said, if this is what you do to people, I never want to see you again. And ever since, I mean, that was 7 years ago-ish, give or take. Never spoken or see them again. Thank God.
It's so hard, isn't it? And I think you won't be alone. And I'm similar. And in fact, I had a similar experience that when my eldest was the most horrendous sleeper, and I was told to do the cry it out method. So to leave him in his bedroom. Yep. He was a tiny baby. He was crying on one side, and I remember sitting on the other side of the door crying at the top of the stairs.
Yep.
But I had been told by the health visitor that's what I needed to do. That would help him self-soothe.
Of course.
and he would fall asleep eventually, and actually it never worked, and eventually and he's still a terrible sleeper.
I mean, if anything, they fall asleep through exhaustion,
Exactly.
not because they self-regulated. I
Well,
mean,
they shut down. They just
yeah.
shut down because they know no one's coming to help, so they shut down.
But imagine that as an adult, right? Imagine you being in so much distress
Yeah.
that you need that assistance in whichever, way you need it.
Yeah.
And no one comes for you.
Yeah.
And you
Very
as an
much shut the
adult,
door.
yeah. And you as an adult, obviously your brain at our age, oh my God, that sounds awful, is fully developed now. I mean, we won't develop our brain anymore now. We've reached the peak, Liz. This is it. But
Okay.
well, yeah, damn it. But that's the thing, we have developed fully emotionally. Obviously, emotionally we're changing, but we have, we understand our emotions. We know what they mean. We can label them, etc., etc. And I would still struggle if someone would just slam the door in my face if I asked for help. And I'm a full-grown adult.
Yeah.
So imagine that doing to a child that can't even speak yet.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, bye. See ya. See you tomorrow.
There's something about being told by a professional, isn't it? And I think I'm very mindful of that in the job that I do, is that I don't know everything, and things change. All I can do is tell you what I know at the moment. You have to work out whether that feels right for you and your family, and whether it feels right in your gut for you to do it. But actually, I know, what I was helping with parents 10 years ago is now not the way that we work, and it's not how we support, because our knowledge changes all the time.
But the children are different as well.
Yes.
I mean, if you think of the time when we were children, which obviously only like 10 years ago, it's different. We were different. We were made different.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm trying to say? Children today are not the way we used to be in any shape or form. I mean, again, neurodivergent or not, it's everything. It's the environment. It's, what we ate, how we ate, the schooling system, education, everything. Completely different.
Yeah.
So of course you can't use the same tools and the same strategies that you used bloody 40 years ago. Of course it's not going to work. Because people, genetically speaking, mentally speaking, everything are completely different. The race has evolved. So you can, even if you want to, with best intentions at heart, of course you're going to fail. It doesn't work. But no, I guess that was one of my lowest points ever, where I thought to myself, you are a horrible person. What are you doing to that child? And never done it again since. I mean, even though with the youngest one, I don't. I mean, sometimes my husband, after the umpteenth time, goes, oh, just give him a minute, just leave him. I'm like, no. Because I know for a fact how this will progress. And yes, some people will say, oh, they have you wrapped around their finger. Well, do you know what? If this is what it means to be wrapped around the child's finger, fine, I'll take it. If this is the worst thing I do to them, mollycoddling them and, wrapping them in bubble wrap and whatever, if this is what it looks like, fine. I will do it over and over and over again.
And it's finding that confidence, isn't it, to do that? And like I said on the podcast, it's about doing things differently. And that can be really difficult as a parent to trust your gut when you've got all this information bombarding you saying you should do this, should do that, this is the perfect way to be able to go, actually, no, I'm trusting my gut and I know my child best.
Exactly.
And I'm going to go with that. And that takes a lot of strength to do that. And especially if you're a parent at that time that's maybe in crisis or the family's in crisis, to be able to take that stand and go, actually, no, this is what I'm going to do. And also knowing what to do, because, we know that if we're in crisis and we're in stress responses, that cognitive part of our brain has gone offline a lot of the time.
Yes, it
we're
has.
surviving at that point.
I mean, that's where trial and error comes into play a bit. I mean, sometimes what you think that is best, it is not what is needed. I mean, for example, my middle son, he used to be a cuddler when he was upset. He would come and, put himself in this little ball like that and snuggle up into you. And he needed that physical contact to bring his nervous system down. Now you can't do that anymore because he will not let you touch him. If he has passed that threshold where the frontal cortex has gone, not today. That's it. You need to let go. You need to back off. It's literally like, with a criminal, you go like that, like, no, I'm going. You should not go near him or you should not touch him because that will only exacerbate the point where he's already at. But again, your maternal instinct, like, oh, come here, I'll give you a cuddle, I'll make it all better. So in this case, I'm going against my instinct because even though I'm going to wrap him up in a blanket and put him up, like, oh, you'll be fine, I need to step back let him do what he's got to do. Ever so often poke my head and like, can I come here? You're right. You
Yeah.
know, and if you go, then walk off again. You know what I mean? And
Yeah.
that goes against parental instinct, maternal instinct in particular, because we want to protect,
Yeah.
we want to make everything better.
Yeah.
So to be able to step back, it's horrible. It's even worse for me,
Yeah.
at least. When I watch it all unfold, you know, like those memes where you sat there drinking a cup of coffee and the house is on fire in the background.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how I feel sometimes, because I just need to sit
Yeah.
there and let it burn.
Yeah.
You know, and then I deal with the ashes.
Yeah.
And that's fine. You know, the little dustpan and brush, you'll be fine. You'll be fine. We're fine. But it's hard. But the only thing I ever say to people is, if it doesn't feel right, it probably isn't.
Yeah.
That's the only advice I'll ever give. I'm never going to tell anyone what to do, but I will always say, if it doesn't feel right, it probably isn't.
There's something in there, isn't there, about that maternal instinct and the fact that, like, you're talking about wanting to give that hug.
Mhm.
But there's something in you that knows that doesn't feel quite right at this moment. So there's a need that I've got, which is to give a hug. But actually, in my gut, I know that's not now right for you. So then how do I step back from that?
Exactly.
My needs with me.
Yeah, I want to make you feel better by you hugging me. Come on, come here.
Actually, and sometimes you think, who actually needs the hug here?
Yeah, no, exactly right. That is
Yeah.
exactly right. Because
Yeah.
again, the maternal instinct is something that is inbuilt in you or isn't. You know, not every woman has a maternal instinct, and that's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
But if it's built in to you, your reactions are almost without thought, and they're subconscious.
Yeah.
If a kid falls over and starts crying, you automatically go and pick them up. If someone, did you know there is a research actually? Well, I call it loosely research, in the sense like a social experiment, for a better word, that if a woman that is a mother is in public without her children, right? So imagine you go to the shops,
Yeah.
and if a child calls mom in distress, you will turn around.
Yeah.
Even though you know for a fact that you're there without kids.
Yeah.
Your kids are at home, they're fine.
Yeah.
Again, there's something in your brain that goes, hold up, there is a child in danger or in distress or in, you know, and I think that's a beautiful thing. I think that's amazing.
Yeah.
But that moves to show how our own mind works when it comes to hearing or seeing children in general in distress. Because automatically our instincts go, right, protect.
Yes.
That's what we do, we protect. So you go from a little kitten, you go to a full-blown lioness, you know. I mean, I don't know what it's like to be a kitten. I think I'm stuck on lion.
I'm about to say, when have you ever been a kitten?
Never. Just don't ask my husband. Don't. But yeah, it's weird, isn't it? It's weird how it shapes you and how it changes you, you know, and how it makes you think about things and feel and let go of things, let go of stuff that really doesn't matter. And I think that's a massive one.
Yeah.
You know,
is there something that sticks in your head of one of your parenting highlights?
every day.
Yes, got it.
Every single day. What are you talking?
Today I'm winning.
I'm winning at life. Because we are such a neurodivergent household, I think every time we go on holiday or we go away somewhere, I never set expectations. And there's always the rule that, right, if it hits the fan, I don't care if we're there for 5 minutes or 7 days, we are coming back home. So there's always the option to retreat.
You got a way out.
It's to put things, I think what makes me really proud is that we got to that stage in our lives, most of the time, not always, where we know what works and we know how to adjust and we know what we need to put into place to mitigate things.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that for me is winning, that if I manage to go somewhere or do something, and even if something happens and something triggers someone, is how to bring it down.
Yeah.
Whereas before, I didn't have the knowledge or the tools or the know-how of how to stop it.
Yeah.
You would have to go the full 0 to 100.
Yeah.
And then I'd pick up the pieces. But now it doesn't get to that stage anymore. And I think that to me is a winner, you know, because I can't control everything. I can't control the environment. I can't control other people. I can't control who's going to set off an alarm, or if an ambulance is going to rush past, or if, you know, it's going to start raining whilst we're on a roller coaster or whatever. Those things I can't control. But what I can control is what I put into place to make it a little bit better.
Yeah.
You know, and the fact that my kids talk to me.
Yeah.
Especially the eldest. He's almost 13 going on 25. And he's the ADHD. He's the one that's been diagnosed the last, and he's a good soul, bless him. I mean, his heart is in the right place, and he's lush. He'll do anything for you. But obviously, he's almost a teenager, so hormones and attitude, and I know everything, Mum. What the
That's
hell?
fun, isn't it? I've got a 13 and a 14-year-old in my
Oh,
house.
it's magical. Such a, it's a, what do they put it on social media? #blessed. That's the one. Amazing. But he will talk to me.
Yeah.
He will come downstairs or come in from school. Mum, can we talk? And I think, in particularly for a boy,
Yeah.
and the fact that he knows, I mean, don't get me wrong, I've told him umpteen times that you can tell me anything. It doesn't matter what you come to me with. You smoke pot behind the bike shed at school? Let's talk about it.
Yeah.
You want to start having sex? Let's talk about it. It doesn't matter what it is.
Yeah.
But come to me first. We'll deal with it. And then that's fine. But obviously me saying that to an almost 13-year-old is irrelevant, isn't it? It doesn't matter what I say at this point. But clearly something has gone in there, because he will. Like, if something happens, or something that he's unsure of, or something that someone said, or oh, I've said this today, or I've done this today, but I'm not feeling okay. Can we talk? I'm like, yeah.
Amazing.
And I think I can't ask for more.
Yeah.
Mind you, with a 4-year-old, I wish he would stop talking, because that child never stops. It's literally continuously. Oh my word. Sometimes you look at him and it doesn't, like, the mouth doesn't stop moving. You know what I mean? It's like, how do you do that? It's like he doesn't even draw breath. It's just, so, I've got the both ends of the spectrum. I've got the one that, come and talk to me more, come spend time with me, tell me more. And the other one, right, you need to back off.
Yeah.
Have an ice cream or something, just stop talking.
Yeah.
But I think those are the moments to me that matter.
Yeah.
The fact that they have the confidence to know that I can say anything to her. Yeah, she might get pissed, which is fine.
Yeah.
But that's all she's gonna do. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not gonna disown me or chuck me out of the house, or not speak to me for 6 weeks, or chastise me for.
But that's that
whatever.
safety and connection, isn't it?
Mm.
They know that it's safe to come and talk about it, that mum
Yep.
might not be that happy about it, but she recovers and we're okay again.
Exactly right.
And I've got that connection. And sometimes it's, even just talking about the little stuff means that then the bigger stuff comes, because if we can talk about the little stuff and mum will listen, or dad, or whoever is parenting, it could be grandma or whoever, is that if I can bring the little stuff, then I'm safe. I'm going to be okay to bring the bigger stuff.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And that's what I've always said. I said, look, you want to talk to me about gaming? I mean, do I have a clue? Absolutely not. Will I listen? Of course. You want to tell me about all the weird terms you and your 13-year-old friends are using that are not actually English and make no sense whatsoever? Teach me. I mean, I'll forget by tomorrow morning, but let's talk about it.
Really useful when we're
What?
watching, if I watch like game shows or something on the TV, is that they'll ask a question and I'll suddenly go, blah, blah. And it's because one of the kids has told
You said it. That's
I haven't
amazing.
even realised I've been listening.
But that's the thing. Sometimes they come to you with these things. You're like, what are you talking about?
We get lots of, did you know?
Yes, I get lots of those.
I probably don't, if you're going to ask me, did I know? And it's something really random that there's no way I could have known. For some reason, my brain is thinking, I know what, you haven't got enough in there. You can store that in there with it. But apparently is quite good in game shows now.
So what you're saying is we need to get you on a game show to win big.
Yeah, the anxiety, I wouldn't be able to say anything.
No, that's true.
My brain would shut down.
We just need to put blindfolds on you.
Yeah, then I'd be all right.
Then you'll be fine.
I'm now storing irrelevant information that's important to 13 and 14-year-olds.
Then you and my son will get along like a house on fire. No, but he does stuff like that. He'll come to me with like the most random thing ever, which I don't even know how his thought process got there in the first place. And I'm like, no, I didn't know that. Thanks for telling me, but how? How did we even get to this point in conversation? It makes no sense.
I think as well, why?
Yeah,
just why would you want to know that? And where in your brain did you think, oh, I know what, I need to go and find out, blah, 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 whatever, some random bit of information? And they're just like, oh, I don't know, I just thought it'd be interesting.
Yeah. To whom? But yeah, okay. Yeah. I mean, sometimes when you listen to them talking to each other, because obviously my son games, so he'll be on, the chat with wow.
Yeah.
All I'm gonna say is wow. And I'm not even talking about the raging and the, oh my God, this game is so stupid. I'm talking actually when they have conversations, like actual human.
But they're not they're not even proper sentences, I've discovered when I
No,
listen to them. They're like this jumble of words together that I just
you really
think,
understand each other.
oh, and especially boys, I think. It's just this, and it's constant kind of digging at each other or taking the
Yeah,
mick out of each other.
yeah.
I don't actually understand what that sentence said.
No,
Don't
neither
understand.
do I. No, I don't understand at all. But it makes them happy. Fine. If
Yeah.
that's how they communicate, fine. It's either that or interpretive dance, I reckon, at this
Yeah.
point. So I think they can stick to that, to be honest.
Yeah.
But
So, Tia, if you were going to go back and say to your younger self,
oh,
or give a parent one bit of advice,
God.
what would it be?
Trust your gut. Always. Always trust your gut. And that is, like I said, in any aspect of
Yeah.
life. I apply that to work. I apply that to my marriage. I apply that to my children, to my friendships, to my, online community, to everything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, trust your gut.
And
And don't
somewhere
take,
along the line, we've learned not to.
yeah, exactly.
Mm.
And, don't, it's hard, isn't it? Because obviously my experience won't necessarily be the same as someone else's.
Mm.
But as a, generic piece of advice, if you made that you can, customize to your own path, I think it is trust your gut and ask questions. You don't know everything, and that's fine. You're not supposed to know everything.
Yeah.
And if you don't know, you don't know. And it doesn't make you any less of a parent. It doesn't make you a
Yeah.
shitty friend. It doesn't make you a bad person just because you don't know.
Yeah.
So just ask.
Yeah.
Ask, right, I am going through this, or I have done this. How do I fix it? Or what do I do? What do I say? Where do I go? Just
Yeah.
ask.
Yeah.
There's
I
no
think
harm in asking.
that bit that you just said then that's really important is that you're not supposed to know everything. You
No,
can't know everything. So
no.
it's okay to say, I don't know.
Yeah,
And finding that place where it feels okay and safe enough to say, I don't know.
exactly right. I mean, mind you, if you say that to a 4-year-old PDA, that's not going to go down well. So obviously choose your audience wisely, because when my son comes and asks me, Mom, I don't know. What do you mean? What do you mean you don't know? I'm like, I'm going to go and find out. Please hold. Yeah, please hold. I'll be back.
I
So
have to do
obviously,
the constantly just ask the internet, I don't know.
that's what I said. I said, go on Google. Just,
Yeah.
I don't.
Within reason. We do
Yeah.
have parameters around what you Google.
Yeah,
There
but
are
then
some
he
things
comes,
they're not allowed to Google.
no, but then he comes to me and goes, oh, well, why don't you know? Well, yeah, well, good point. I don't know why I don't know. It is this loop. So, yeah, choose your audience wisely. Do not say I don't know to a 4-year-old PDA because it's not going to go well for you. When you feel that you really nailed parenting and then you say that to a PDA and they bring you down to earth a little bit, yeah, don't. If you
Yeah.
value your self-esteem and you woke up in the morning feeling good about yourself, just don't do it, because they will very quickly take the rug from under your feet.
And
Very
just
quickly.
remind you that you do not know everything as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that doesn't make you such a great person now, does it? Yeah, no, that is, just trust your gut. It never fails, because that's why it's there, isn't it? It's you, it's who you are. It's an amalgamation of all your experiences, your wants, your needs, your desires, your dislikes, your trauma response, your nervous system, your everything.
Yeah.
So trust it. It doesn't lie. It hasn't failed me yet in 21 years of life, of course. So, yeah, it hasn't failed yet.
So at the moment, Tara, what have you got going on? So if parents what we'll do is obviously we'll put all your links in the show notes so people can find you if they want to. So you're
Yeah.
on Facebook, you're on Insta.
And the website, and that's it. I
And you've got
don't
your
do any
website,
other
yeah, and
social.
you've got a really lovely book list that I know every so often I go, Taya, what's your book list? Because I'm not a reader. And then you send it to me and I send that off to other people and say, this is where you
Yeah.
can find it on Taya's website. So because you're an avid reader, I know that. You love
Yes,
reading
I
and
love it. Yeah.
devour books in a speed that I'm very jealous of when I still haven't finished any of my books.
That's occupational hazard. I had to
Ever.
learn how to speed read in uni, because my bibliography in uni years was gargantuan. Obviously, you had a set limited time before you had to take the exams.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you
yeah,
had
yeah.
to read quickly, because otherwise you wouldn't pass. So,
Well, I
yeah.
wouldn't have passed.
You
I
just
can't
do
tell
it.
you the last time I finished a book.
Oh no.
And I like put stickies in I write all over people would hate me what I do to
You don't write.
books.
You don't write on a book.
I write on books. I put stickies in them. I fold pages down.
Oh, Liz. Oh
Sorry.
no.
Sorry
Oh
to any
no.
book lovers out there that thinks that's a terrible thing to do.
That is a terrible thing to
It's the
do.
only way I can get information in my head.
I mean, sticky notes and to put
And
like
I write in
notes.
them too.
I don't want to be friends anymore.
Sorry.
I'm breaking up with you, Liz.
No.
But yeah, what's coming up? Do you know what? I don't know. I was well, obviously with the Christmas period and all of that, everything has gone a little bit out of whack
Yeah, and
because
we're just getting back into our routines.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I was meant to start sorting something out for another event for
Yeah.
spring, but it will probably be pushed back to summer now, to be honest, because we're already mid of Jan and I genuinely just did not have the capacity for it up until this point. And the way things are going at the moment, I don't think I'll have the capacity by the end of this month.
Yeah.
But there will be another event similar to the one that I've done last October, which will all be free, will all be online. It will all, you rock up
And
when
your
you wish.
last October one is people can still access that on
Oh
your
yeah.
post,
So
can't
I
they?
put
So
a pinned post at the top. So if you go to the video tab at the top of the page, they're all in there, so you
and
can
what was it
rewatch.
about? So just tell people in case they don't know what it was about.
So I've done a Unmasking Neurodivergent author series where I invited a whole host of neurodivergent authors to talk about their books, to talk about their life experiences, to talk about, everything neurodivergent.
Brilliant.
So there were 8 of them in the end in total. So all the videos are there. You can rewatch at your own leisure. On the website, I do upload the resources as I do them. So you've got the creating a happy neurodivergent Christmas guide, which both yourself and me and 25 other neurodivergent
Wasn't it?
voices took part. That was amazing. So
Yeah.
that will stay on there because you can never be prepared for the seasons, to be honest.
No.
Then I've done my own on the back of that, which is how to get back to life after the festivities, which again doesn't apply just to Christmas, applies to 6 week summer holidays
In
or
and out of transitions generally.
exactly. So again, that can be updated whichever you see fit. And I've got the book list, the neuroaffirming book list, which again gets updated regularly based on what I'm reading and if it's worth
Which
it.
is pretty quickly because of the speed you read at.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I've got one more resource that I need to put together now to whack on there. But again, time, I don't have time.
Yeah.
I am taking part in a project with Long Road Send Mum.
Uh-huh.
So if you head to her website and Facebook page, you'll see it plastered over there. But I won't say any more because that's her thing. I've just been invited to take part, so I'll leave it at that.
Okay,
So I'm
people can
taking
go and
part.
check that out.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, she's a powerhouse. She's absolutely incredible. But I think that is pretty much it. I mean, I've got other things in my head, but I don't want to say it out loud because then it's going to be pressure on me and then I have to deliver. And if I don't, I'm going to get angry. So there are
Keep an eye out on your Facebook page, basically, because
pretty much.
you're on there every day, sometimes twice a day, with information and stuff that's coming up. There's loads of stuff on there that people would find interesting and useful, and it's just nice to hear, and read your thoughts and your thinking. And I always enjoy popping on to see what you're chatting about today. But that just leaves me to say, Teo, thank you so much for coming on. As always, a lovely chat. It's always good fun to talk with you. You're always dead straight into the point, which I love. I know there's going to be some parents out there that are going to find it really useful to hear you talking about the things that you talked about, but also might want to link in with you as well. So as I say, I'll put all those links in the show notes so people can find you. Thank you ever so much.
Thank you for having me. Always a pleasure. And I'm looking forward to seeing hearing, should I say, the next ones that you've got coming. Yeah. How exciting.
We'll see you soon. Thanks, Teo. Bye. Well, that's it for this episode of the Untypical OT Talks. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today. Whether you're walking the dog, folding laundry, or hiding in the toilet for 5 minutes apiece, and there's no judgment here, I'm glad you chose to spend your time with me today. If you're a parent or a carer of a child with additional needs and you're feeling overwhelmed, burnt out, or just like you need a bit of backup, I've got you. And I'm here to help you find a way through the trickier stuff, like behaviour and those moments when you feel like you might just run out of steam, so you can be the parent you want to be and take care of yourself too. Want to connect? You'll find me over on all the social media sites, Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn, where I share more tips, resources, and real talk. And hey, if this episode made you laugh, nod along, or feel a little less alone, why not buy me a coffee? Just click the link in the show notes. It's a small way to show your support and keep this podcast going. Take care of yourself today. You're doing an amazing job. Until next time, let's keep getting curious together.